Well. Look at who we have here. A depressed little boy. So, hi, pig. The science is still out on that pig, so I'm gonna keep running a few different tests, and eventually we'll find out if she stream on my Cahill till I Twitch. But currently, all I'm getting back from the machines are a loud, incorrect buzzer noise. So, I don't bet on it. I honestly, there was some rough stuff today. Well, honestly, I'm not gonna say I was doing too bad, because I feel like there was a decent amount of either straight up uplifting news, or stuff that I unironically found kind of just entertaining. Part of that is the fact that apparently a large amount of the eastern half of America is going to be buried in up to 3 feet of snow. So we'll see. If that happens, I ain't doing shit about it. I'm gonna tell you right now. not to wholly pass the buck or what have you. I was literally just explaining. I'm going to be home by myself at that moment, and also my family. I learned this year. My family doesn't use salt. Since we have been living in this house, the past 2 years, I've been away on trips whenever it snowed. This year, however, I was at home alone when it snowed the first time, and I did have to kill 2 guys who tried to break into my house, but that's an unrelated issue. But so I was shoveling, and I was texting my parents. I was like, "Where the fuck is the salt?" And they were like, "We do not use salt," and I was like, "This is going to suck." I will not shut up. I feel that. People get annoying about... People love, just fucking sticking their nose in others' business. 'Tis wild. So, hope you're feeling better soon, though, King. So... But for right now, we're gonna work on the comic, and I've gotten a sketch done here. I'm particularly proud of this right here. So, honestly, I think we can. I was literally doing this in 20 minutes before the stream, but if I'm being honest, I kind of feel okay to just start drawing. But yeah, so I'm just because previously that snowstorm I talked about before, where it was the first time I was alone at this particular house, and was thus shoveling. I woke up and there was just fucking snow out, right? So to some degree, I feel like I'm kind of expecting that again. And if I wake up, especially on a Monday or what have you, and I can't see out the windows because it snowed so much, I'm probably just gonna go back to bed for a little bit. I don't mind shoveling, really, but there's shoveling, and then there's shoveling specifically because you have to move your car and get out and go somewhere. So, and one of those is not happening with 3 feet of snow. I will tell you that much right now. I'm not going to panic shovel through that much snow. I've talked about this before. My characters are fucking weird. I feel like for the most part, Walt and Willie would translate so like literally and directly into 3D, if not for their hats, which I've made just wildly incomprehensible from a three-dimensional perspective. My dad had surgery a few weeks ago, so I've been shoveling for him while he recovers. I wish you luck, Trom. Trom, if anything, I wish you the same thing as me, which is to say that if you are hit by 3 feet of snow, you're just kind of allowed to be like, I'm not doing this right now, you know? Like, just don't have to go anywhere. So. I'm just like... I was gonna say, I feel like a lot of people... there's so many people I run into. It's like, I don't like the snow. And I was like, okay. I can't help you with that, but regardless, I do like the snow. In part because if you get hit with a lot of snow, there's like a point where it's just like nothing's happening. None of us are doing anything. And honestly, I am someone who appreciates a good quiet day. So I just hide the snow and jump scare. I would do fun snow-related activities, but I'm not fucking moving all of that. Well, Lord knows that. Yeah, I meant to order cocoa in a recent grocery order, but I forgot to before they were like, we're already sending it. And I was like, oh, beans. Oh, nuts. So, like I said, I mean, honestly, I won't even mind not having I can cook myself a hot meal, especially if no one else is in the house. I won't mind being cocoa-less if I don't have to go running around in it, so. But yeah. With how crazy things are so often, I don't mind just I don't mind like Mr. Freezing everyone into their homes, you know? You need to chill out. Just fucking no one's going anywhere, no one's doing anything. That's it. You've lost your outdoor privileges. That's it. I'm sick of people. I've decided it's Penguin's turn to rule the Earth. I'd love to be able to use the Adventure Time penguins for that joke, but anyone who's seen the show knows that Gunther is actually Orgalord. Demonic fucking space entity. So... I don't want to give the Earth to Orgalord. He's Orgalord. I hate that guy. Gotta find the tallest hill. Fuck yeah, dude. That's what I'm talking about, you know? Like, I think Trauma gets the vibe. There is a point where it's so much snow, the only sane response is to just build snowmen and sled. Yeah. There is a point where so much snow has fallen that the idea of putting it somewhere else is comical. So either stay in and stay warm, or go have fun in the snow. But if you so much as think as bringing up serious business, you can go in the loony. You can you can go in the snow bin, which is the bin where we keep the extra snow. I love that this is a Sonic remix. Not remix, but this one doesn't have a timestamp. I love how this is a Sonic mix we're listening to. This I have not played GTA, and I'm not planning to for a lot of reasons. But fucking, this sounds so much like the music I hear whenever someone is like, "Here's a clip of GTA." It's probably that, what's it called? Theremin. What is coming, John? Unironically, because that's the thing, right? In recent years, there's been a decent amount of apocalypse fiction, which people get invested in. Also, hi, Juice. Because the world is a messy place right now, and no one seems to be really fixing stuff, so people like the idea of the hard reset button, right? But asteroids would suck. Zombies would be gross. A lot of it would not be great for most people, if not just in general, destroying most people. Conversely, if a new ice age happens, I think like a lot of places can adapt. But in doing so, we'll get that same kind of reset. Fucking, like, Congress or whatever was like, yeah, we should really pass that bill we were talking about. And someone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're burning our desks to stay warm. I was gonna like try and make a joke about the kind of bill it'd be, but fucking, they never have anything helpful, so there'd be nothing fun to say. Just imagine more snow. I think the only people I'd feel bad for, specifically, are people on like tropical islands, because you know. There you go, Tron. That's something stupid and probably real. But like people on tropical islands, both because at that point, assuming we extend the fiction I'm creating, where this happens in such a way that almost all of civilization can adapt to it, but the effort in doing so really just kinds of changes the world in general, right? People on tropical islands would not be having a great time because they've gone from being on a tropical island to a piece of ice in the middle of the ocean. All of the benefits of living on an island are gone in an instant. Now it's you and a couple other like 100 people you know who are like, man, I wish we had like a bit more room for all the snow. I wish the ocean directly next to us, while no longer at risk of like flooding the entire island, wasn't either solid ice or far, far too cold to live in. I'm trying to what could cause such a wondrous change in the Earth's climate? My first instinct is some kind of impact with like a comet. Comets are made out of a lot of cold materials, but also you know, obviously, most of the time when something hits a planet, not, like, typically not a peaceful thing. And if we just move the Earth away from the sun, that causes a lot of issues. Maybe the entire solar system passes through some kind of weird space cloud, which changes Earth in such a way that, while still habitable, is much colder. That would be interesting. So yeah, I'm writing my own fiction now. Guys, come with me as I write the newest chapter in the fan fiction I'm writing about my real life friends. This is a healthy way for me to cope with social anxiety. What is it? You're an author now. Congrats, thanks. Juice, you might not know this. I already was, but... Hey, can I just say something? Being an author sucks. In high school, it was not good. No, I wouldn't expect it to be, Juice. Also, don't do that. I know you know not to do that now. And I'm not going to make any other comments, because I feel like they will be interpreted as burns. But yeah, don't do that. What was I just thinking of? Oh, right, being a writer sucks. I was talking to Deja about this, because they were complaining about how they're writing, but they're not really getting any good feedback on the stuff they're writing, which I feel. And also, it just, like, I don't want to ask people I know to read what I've written. And I'm just going to say it out loud. I have, because kind of, like, not much of another choice, right? Being like, hey, could you read this? And they're like, yeah, sure. They don't. And I'm kind of guilty of this. I've been in a similar position before. But that's why it's always just a bad scenario. No, you're good. Juice, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even remember if you were someone I asked to read. I asked to read stuff specifically. Sometimes I just kind of leave my writing out on the doormat like a cat offering a dead bird. But I wonder what I would do if Oswald, my pet rabbit, brought me a dead bird. I wonder if anyone's had to deal with the fallout of a pet rabbit hunting a creature. This isn't the plot to Bunnicula. Bunnicula, like, specifically suck the life out of, like, fruits and veggies, which is kind of like the twist. Because they're like, does it eat flesh? And it's like, no. It has vampiric properties, but not in a necessarily harmful way to you. You know, I would not mind suddenly living in a sort of Arctic fantasy realm. as somewhat brought up by dearest Juice, my good friend. To me, that would be not a bad time. But I am also one of the few people I've ever met who likes the cold. A lot of people I know like the warmth. I think they're freaks for that. But what are you gonna do, you know? I don't tell people how to live. I don't tell people how to feel in their skin. Crawling in my crawl. These crawls, they will not crawl. Crawl. Can't lay her down in the heat. I can't. Take off your skin. No. Oh my goodness. You know, I shouldn't have taken a pause there, but I come on a stream and like talk about like not liking jobs. Hello? That is, I don't know what button I pressed there. Y'all couldn't see that, but oh my freaking gosh. Ugh. But yeah, anyway, I come on stream and I talk about how like I don't really like jobs, which I think a lot of people can relate to. And to some degree I feel bad, because it is good to have a source of income, yada yada yada. But also I feel like this is one of the only places I can openly just say like fuck jobs in general, without someone being like, actually, you should really like having a job. You should like, you should just bust over the idea of working for your boss and doing whatever the fuck they want. And I'm like, okay. And that extends to the fact that I feel like so often IRL fucking people just talk to me about it. They're just like, so how's the job? And I'm like, I don't care how the job is. I'd love it. Can we talk about anything else I have like an actual interest in? Like a genuine like decent interest in? I beg of you. But no. So, not to vent on how's the job? Traum, you saying that sent me into a sort of fight or flight. You know, I have like I know for a fact I have, yeah, I do. Big old eyes. Stop looking at me with them big old eyes. But yeah, I don't know. I just... no, this is really why I was writing winter fan fiction in a minute ago. There's so many memes of like an animal doing something and it's clearly having a good time, and then like the caption is like, he's never had to open Excel. I'm like, that's true. That's true, actually. So, Lord, I was literally talking about like the realistic Minecraft mod the other day. I'm like, I don't know if that's fun. I saw apparently a Pokemon ROM hack, I think like yesterday too. Yesterday or today, I forget. This is literally why jobs suck. It just blurs together. Fucking, and it was like, this Pokemon ROM hack has you do just random ass puzzles in Excel for some reason. So, I'm definitely not playing that. I'll tell you that much. I'm like spacing out after all that stuff I just talked about. I apologize. You know what? Let's talk about something nerdy real quick. IRL, y'all know about Doctor Who. Y'all heard of this Doctor Who fella? Fucking... I've thought about this before. I feel like if I had his blue box, the TARDIS, I'd be very stressed using it. Not for the typical reasons you might think. I like... It's just the fact that I physically probably wouldn't want to travel through time. You know? Even if we... Like, okay, here's the first thing, right? In the Doctor Who fiction, time works in that there are certain points in time that must stay constant, but everything in between them is in flux. And thus, you can just walk around that shit all you feel like, right? Alright, neat, cool. I don't know if that's how it would work in real life, and I'd be very scared trying it. So, like, I just wouldn't want to. And even if I found out that is how it worked, I still probably wouldn't want to go to the past or the future in fear of learning knowledge that I will not be able to handle or talk about with another person. So, at that point, I'd be just kind of using it like a weird-ass spaceship. Which would be neat, but also, like, again, assuming this is in real world and not Doctor Who world, I don't think I'd be able to find aliens to, like, chill with. On so many levels, I don't think I'd be able to find that. So after that point, I would just be going to look out at, like, different parts of the galaxy, which would be cool, but also, like, I don't know. How many massive cosmic bodies can you look at before you're just like, okay, I get it. Alright, I just want to play him. I'd probably, at the end of the day, it would probably work best for me like a mobile home. Which, I mean, is kind of what it is also used as in the show. It's just like, fucking... This place is neat. It decorates itself to my liking. It can position itself discreetly wherever I feel like it. I'm not paying rent because everyone else on the outside world thinks this is a cardboard box. And I just kind of happened to come into possession of it. Good times. I hope folks out there had an okay day today. Like I said, I wasn't necessarily dooming and glooming so much today, which is a nice change of pace. But also, I was just like, I don't know. I'm tired, man. I think at the end of the day, that's that's what it all comes around to, you know. I'd like a change of pace in many aspects. I don't know if I've said this on stream before. I should not relate to more nerd shit. I literally just showed Deja Fellowship of the Ring, and they did like it, to my knowledge. I literally said after we got done, I was like, that was a 3-hour movie. Do not lie to me about how you felt about it. But yeah, I shouldn't relate to fucking Bilbo at like the start of that movie as much as I do. And it's like, I just want to find a good place to finish my book, you know? Like, and then go on an adventure. I don't know if fucking Tolkien meant for that to be like a relatable feeling when he wrote it, but I'd say Wright twice there, probably. The Wright brothers? Inventor of the plain chicken sandwich? What are you doing here? Does anyone here know anything, like, specific about the Wright brothers besides the plane shit? Because, I don't. I don't know them personally. They lived in one of the Carolinas. I know that much. Alright, I used to go to school with a kid who would do very well on, like, every test. Because, like, he got amazing grades. Specifically, because what he was doing is he would just read through every textbook in, like, history and what have you that was given to him. So then when it came time for, like, to get through the lesson and take a test, etc., etc., he would just have that shit memorized. Like, he'd just be like, I basically just read this twice, if not more. So. And honestly, as an adult, I've kind of been like, I kind of want to, like, have a decent textbook. Like, have y'all ever... I don't know what kind of, like, books y'all had growing up in your school. But in, like, the fucking 3 or 4 different schools I went to as a kid, when my family was moving all over the place, the way it was kind of structured was that you'd have, like, a section of the book that you could, like, read through like a normal book. And that would kind of contain the contents. And then following that would be kind of like questionnaires and, like, different activities or even trivia related to that to help you memorize it. And to some degree, I kind of want that, of, like, a little bit I can read when I feel like, to get the information in my head, but not having to read through, like, an entire novel. I do think some informative books, it's just weird, because they're written like you're the Lord of the Rings or oh, that's not right. Where it's almost like this is done in chapters and you're supposed to read the whole thing through. But I don't know if that's the best way for me to learn it. I ain't gonna learn anything like this. I'm bored. I want to go eat crayons. You know, when I was like a kid, I would put, like, toys and shit in my mouth, right? Like your action figures and what have you. It was so weird to me to hear about people being like, yeah, I ate glue. We all ate glue, didn't we? Glue and crayons. And I was like, no. No, I did not. Who's we? Are you speaking French? But yeah, I was not, despite what the internet and Google might have you believe, I did not eat paste as a child. I don't think the idea of eating glue ever occurred into my mind while I was still a kid, while I was glue eating age. So, I wicked missed the train on that. I don't know if y'all glue eaters out there have, like, good stories or reviews, but I don't think I'll be joining you anytime soon. I'm a picky eater normally, so that's probably why I'd be like chewing on toys, but not like straight up eating craft materials, because, you know, fucking I didn't want to actually like eat something. I was just chewing on stuff because I had baby teeth. I had baby teeth that weren't coming out. My mouth is probably just like, just fucking non-toxic does not mean edible. Okay, Trump, of course you're right. By that logic, toxic means edible. It's been in front of us all along. Of course. If non-toxic does not mean edible, then clearly, by the transitive property, toxic is edible. Toxic also does not mean edible. It infers edible. I see what you're doing. It implies edibility. Listen, they also told me not to do weed growing up. And now that shit's chill as hell. Lots of people can do weed. So I'm thinking it's fine. Oh my goodness, I didn't talk about this. So when I was watching Lord of the Rings in theaters with Deja, fucking, there was like, I realized the thing I was connecting with this was actually a video I saw online, but it doesn't matter because it's still the same thing. Anyway, fucking, but there was like a thing before it where instead of playing trailers, it was just Peter Jackson. But when I say that, I do mean it was just Peter Jackson. Like, I was Googling as we were watching this. I could not find any mention of this being an included feature of the re-releases. He went on for like 10 minutes, and I didn't mind. It was fun. He was telling fun stories, but it was just Peter Jackson. I can't. To be clear, Peter Jackson, who shot one of the greatest trilogies of all time. I was actually Googling his filmography while he was talking, and he hasn't made a lot of movies. I think a good amount of them are decent, at least, right? And also Lord of the Rings. But yeah, guy who made one of the best trilogies ever. This forward he was doing for a 25-year celebration was shot like a 2010 YouTube vlog in his living room. And like, to a degree, I love that. But it was also really disorienting. He was the director. He had no direction in what he was talking. Like, literally, it feels like what they did was, you know, the people putting on the re-releases and stuff were like, hey, it'd be cool if we could have someone do a forward for this. So they they just emailed him. Like, that's no like meeting or anything. They just emailed him, hey, Peter, we're putting these in the theaters again. Could you give us like a little forward where you talk about Lord of the Rings? And like, that was the only thing he was given. So that's all he just talked about Lord of the Rings for 10 minutes, but not in any sort of like structure or like, I don't want to say not profound, because like to some degree him talking about his experience filming it was profound, but very casually. And then he sent it back to them as like a dot vid file or whatever, like from his phone. No one checked it before putting it in theaters. That was the vibe that came across. And again, I could not find any part of the re-releases in terms of like the news talking about them or the official summary from like the theaters and stuff being like, and listen to Peter so it was literally like Peter Jackson jump scare. Where the screen was like black and the lights were on and then the lights dimmed, and without any kind of like, you know, like the ads they do for the movie theaters while you're in the movie theater, like, this is crying feels good in a place like this. Like, none of that. Just lights went dim, Peter Jackson jumps out at you and just tells you random stories about filming Lord of the Rings, which again is actually kind of chill and a vibe, and like we're all here for it. It was also disorienting and very funny. One of the things he was talking about, which was fun, because everyone knows fucking Viggo Mortensen broke his toe. He was talking about how they were like, you know, they were filming the whole fucking thing, and then the studio came to him and was like, hey, we need like 20 minutes to show to people so folks don't think we're absolutely just destroying that, like, you know, that we're not fucking this up so bad. It's like, okay, we'll do Mines of Moria. That's what we'll have that filmed and like fully ready for people to like watch as like a test screening and like as a teaser, right? So he was talking about how they did that, but before like filming it, Viggo came onto set with a fucked up face because he had been surfboarding and got hit very hard in the face with the surfboard. He was like, Peter, I'm sorry. Fully a black eye. He was like, so we filmed him from like one angle that entire time. It was fine. He was also saying the thing that applied to me, which is he was like, does anyone actually want to see Lord of the Rings in theaters? And apparently he knows like a 25-year-old or something, just like some kid he knows. I guess they're not a kid. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to see it. I was like one when the movies came out, and he was like, oh, that's true. There are massive Lord of the Rings fans who have never watched them in theaters. So, very fun. But yeah. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, those are like some highlights of him talking, and very fun to see. But it did go on for a while, and he did not have direction for what to talk about. So I literally leaned over to Deja and was like, "This isn't normally how it starts." Because, like, again, without not having seen it in any of, like, the press for the, like, the re-release, I was expecting, like, trailers, and then, you know, the world is changed, like, you know, very dramatic. And then the first thing that happened, I hadn't seen what Peter Jackson looks like before that. So to me, a random New Zealand man appeared from nowhere and started talking about the re-release. So, that being said, like, he looks like he has a cozy ass house and shit, because he cannot stress, he was just in his living room. And fucking, if he has not had to make a lot of movies since Lord of the Rings, like, yeah, that's exactly the kind of life I was literally just talking about on stream. Is PJ a Kiwi? Let us see. Kiwi is... I have heard New Zealanders call themselves that. It doesn't sound... It sounds like something you shouldn't say, but... Maybe... Yep, New Zealand filmmaker. And that is the other thing, right? Because, like, a lot of the fucking pictures of him are him from press tours. Wait. Oh, yes, 4 days ago. Oh, they called it annoying. I thought it was cute. It's just what. Here. But yeah, he just had a very long, he had a straight up Gandalf beard in this. What was I thinking of? In this interview. It is 10 minutes. It is actually 10 minutes. This video was taken down, but you can still see the timestamp. And I was right on the mark. It's 10 minutes of him just talking about Lord of the Rings. I feel like, and like again, I literally came into this being like, he was not given like any like talking points for this. But on the other hand, I think that's fine. And also, if you're into Lord of the Rings enough to see, like, unless you are legitimately being like, this is the first time I'm gonna watch it because it's in theaters, you know, which wild because it's the extended edition, and I don't know what the general consensus is, but I think theatrical is fine just to be like, do I like this? So that way you're not there for 3 hours. But anyway, if you're a big enough fan of the films to go see a re-release of them, I feel like the least you can do is be like, hey, I can watch the director just kind of tell fun stories about filming these for 10 minutes before the film starts. He literally even says, he says at the end of the 10 minutes, he's like, I should probably let you watch the film, because it's not a short film. Which is very funny. But that's also the kind of thing that, maybe they did tell him, like, hey, make it like around 10 minutes. But it's another thing where it almost feels like they just told him to film anything. And then he saw, like, the timer, and he's like, oh, this has been going on. I've been talking for a minute. They're probably, like, still in theaters looking at me. I should let them watch the film. So. I was entertained by it. I don't know if anyone in stream here was entertained by my retelling. Or if the general consensus was like, I didn't like that, but I thought it was fun. I was just kind of looking at Deja like, hey, this doesn't usually happen. Could you imagine if one of the greatest, like, fantasy series of all time, like a film series, opened with real guy in real house in real world, talking directly to the audience about watching a film, and then abruptly cutting to the in-universe fiction? That'd be fun. Have a bit of whimsy. Sometimes things can just be whimsical. I was about to ask, is that MCU kind of humor though? But here's the thing, MCU doesn't even bother doing like fourth wall breaks most of the time. And don't say Deadpool. Deadpool was not MCU when they made it. If Fox hadn't still owned some X-Men rights at that time, I don't think we would have gotten a Deadpool movie. Title for Star Wars. I mean, to some degree, yes, Trom. But I want, like, not even that. Because the title for Star Wars is like a build-up, right? Like, that would almost be a gradient, where, like, George Lucas talks about making the film. You get the title of the film, and then preamble, and then the film. And that's, like, slowly bringing you into fiction from the real world. what I would thought, what it would be closer, what I'm envisioning is like George Lucas talks about Star Wars, and then immediately we cut to the inside of Leia's ship where people are like shooting lasers. I apologize to nitpick. I was just like, but if we're talking about Star Wars as the example specifically, as other trilogy, that I would even argue Pirates of the Caribbean has a similar problem. If you're watching if you're watching the Pirates trilogy, you can't, like, it wouldn't be director right into film because there's like a dream. Before Pirates starts, there's a small dream sequence to show a flashback. So you're still not quite in the full fiction yet. Holding a guy a foot. That is exactly... Fucking George Lucas talks for 10 straight minutes about funny stories that happened in the 70s. Hard cut, Darth Vader is holding a guy in Leia's ship by the throat. And then, you know, Leia comes out and immediately is just like, the Galactic Senate. And I remember hearing a story that, like, the physical actor, the original physical actor, I don't want to, like, butcher his name. I don't remember his name, and I apologize for that, because, like, his part should not be undersold in bringing Darth Vader to life. But that, like, he wasn't happy that his lines were dubbed over. But I'm not, like, I'm gonna be so, like... We gotta be so for real right now, man. You had, like, I have heard, like, the scenes without the dubbed audio. He has, like, a soft British voice. And also, keep in mind, he is actually wearing the Darth Vader helmet. So what that would mean is if we got his performance, which maybe it has its benefits, but if we got his performance, it would be a British guy talking like this. For three straight movies, and a British accent coming to you like this. So to some degree, I can understand being disappointed, but on the you have to know we can't do that. Even if you don't want to give the late James Earl Jones the credit he so rightly deserves as being a fantastic voice actor, fucking most dubbing, some dubbing would be preferred. David Prowse. I was gonna say Andrew from some reason. Yes, David Prowse. But yeah. Like I said, I mean no disrespect to him, because that's understandable. Especially in, like, the first film, where you're like, I'm gonna... like, especially when you have, like, fucking Alec McGuinness over there. You're like, I don't want to do this. Like, just so upset he's Obi-Wan. And meanwhile, you're playing Darth Vader, and you're trying, like, decently hard, but you're the one who gets dubbed over. I can understand disappointment. I have to look this up to say anything when he... That... I can fully back that Trom. Like, 100%. He should have been the person saying stuff at the end of Return of the Jedi. Fully. Okay. Was David Bowie bisexual? Prowse upset about Peter Jackson. That, I understand where you're coming from, Google. Often improvised his lines. Literally a comment here is like, he sounds like Dark Helmet, which is the joke of Dark Helmet. So if anything, maybe it might have been the case that, I mean, he might have done that because he was a little upset. But if anything, it's maybe it's more he was upsetting his coworkers. They're trying to play it straight, and he has not said one correct thing this entire scene. Was David Prowse actually David Bowie? That's what they mean by bisexual. You have two last names. Most people just, you know, just aren't educated about, like, sexuality and that kind of stuff. Bisexuality has nothing to do with being attracted to different genders. It is specifically about having two different last names you go by at different times of your life. So you're thinking of pansexuality, and there is a weird overlap where bi people realize they're pan, but they're not related. It's just that they have two last names they use, and also they like people regardless of gender. It's a weird Venn diagram, but you know, that's how the world works. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't. Yeah, as much as I got back to thinking about the weekend, right? Because like this is the last stream of the week this week, and then after this I got tomorrow and Friday, and then it's a weekend. Like, yippee snow day, but also I don't really want to call out of work, even if everyone is. Specifically, because like that's. I feel like part of my problem in my work is that I deal with people all day, and they are typically not very happy. Which could be said of just a lot of customer service jobs, but you know, you get the vibe, right? And meanwhile, I'm just trying to keep my head down, be nice, and get a paycheck to live. You know? And that's for some reason that is very hard. So with that in mind, having to call up my boss and be like, hey, my car is in an ice trap. I can't come into work. That's not exactly keeping your head down. If anything, it is specifically calling attention to the fact you will be absent that day. So, I don't know. If nothing else, like I said, I'll be home alone for most of the weekend. Hopefully I won't have to kill 2 soggy bandits this time. And, then I can just, you know, I can chill for those 2 days. Not even really have to worry about the 3rd day or snow. We'll see. It would be very funny if there wasn't any snow after this. Listen. World's kind of messed up in a lot of ways, right? We can all get behind this. It would be an objectively very funny joke if they called for one of the biggest winter storms in years, only for nothing to happen. And then on Monday, we all wake up to the news people saying, "Ugh." It was Y2K, like... It was Y2K years later with numbers no one expected, and it specifically affected the weather computers. That is it. I'd have a big old laugh. I think this is a... Chat? What do you think? I think this is a pretty good drawing. This communicates a lad lying on the ground. Also, technically, the name for the people in this comic strip are toons. That is the species, they are toons. But like I was really just thinking of like Smiling Friends, how like they have like humans and critters. That is what certain characters are considered. But like this is a lad. That's a lad right there. That is how I specifically describe Walt and his brother. You know, I was talking to a friend. I was literally about to name drop them, but here's the thing. I'm not going to do that for multiple reasons, one of which I will reveal right now. They were saying, they were giving me, like, not criticism, like advice kind of criticism of like, yeah, I think your comic's good, I just think you're advertising signs of insular. You know, you're not reaching new people with it. And I'm like, that's fair. And I've been meaning to ask, like, how can I change that? Just to them or anyone. Because I don't know. I like my comic, right? And I think if everyone in the world gave my comic a shot, it would have like at least a decent, even if it was widely unpopular, it would have like a decent sized audience, you know? But I'm clearly not reaching those types of people. So I don't know what you, I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. I'm pretty sure the answer isn't like going into like Twitch chats and spamming links. From my experience watching others, that's a bad idea. So that's out. I think the problem is, I don't know where I can... there's not lots of places where I consistently find large amounts of people. So... it is what it is. We keep trucking along. I'm going to turn into a truck now. To turn into a truck now. And he did. Lord. I have seen like bits and pieces of Michael Bay Transformers. And I really think that's all I need to see. For so many reasons. You know, in some ways, those movies have a certain, like, charm to them. I'm not even gonna... I won't say all of them inherently do, or that it outweighs other qualities, right? But they have a certain charm to them that does kind of warrant the occasional watch, but I think for the most part I'm good. There's a movie I won't name. It was just on a lobby TV this morning, right? Maybe some of you can guess the film franchise I might be referring to. And it did bring me back to simpler times when more of us watched those movies and enjoyed them without worrying. I got a little nostalgic. But I'm still not gonna watch them ever again on so many levels. No part of what they actually do or are will outweigh the more negative aspects, so. Even the most piratical option of viewing them remains undesirable to me. I fucking love... I don't say that enough. Can I be so real right now? I've used this a couple times, talking about the comic and shit. I discovered the portmanteau piratical, and I haven't been. I should use it more. I think all my friends would be really happy if I just constantly said it in Discord calls. You know, like play like there. So I did have that thing as a kid where I was like, do I, because I feel like you don't even register it when you're watching a TV show, but you'll hear about characters having quote unquote catchphrases, right? And I was definitely one of those kids who were just like, should I have a catchphrase? But the thing is, I just kind of thought about things I naturally said a lot. I didn't actively try to incorporate something into my speech more. And I'm sure my mom or dad would disagree, because there were plenty of shows I was obsessed with as a kid, to a wild degree. That's autism for you. But fucking, I definitely didn't like try to have sitcom moments IRL, and I from what I hear, plenty of other people did. So you know what, that's fine, especially in like, you know, late 90s early 2000s America. Like, that's just what was happening. And I'll tell you something, parents didn't care. Parents did not care that the way their kids were learning about how the world works and how to do things was television. Children's television, which, if you can believe this, was not an accurate representation of how the world or social dynamics operates. Like, iCarly and Wizards of Waverly Place, if you can believe this, not actually how high school goes. So. I don't know how much I did that like yesterday on stream. I don't know how much people can actually just hear me bubbling water back here. Alright, I want to Google something. Live on air. I'm gonna look this up. How often was Calvin and Hobbes published? Daily. Okay, that makes sense. So I was gonna say, you know, I'm doing a comic strip here, and sometimes I look at older comic strips, which are the inspiration. I'm like, you know, that art's a little like just more simpler than I remember, which is understandable already because they were doing it on pen and paper and shit, yada yada yada. But I was like, so I don't feel too bad. But here's the thing, I do mine weekly, and apparently these people were doing theirs daily, so I think I could have this kind of quality daily if it was like literally my full-time job, and I was like literally just 8 hours a day at the old grindstone. But again, that would still not necessarily be wholly to my benefit and skill, because again, I would be doing so digitally, whereas comic artist of yore did so on pen and paper. Honestly, that's probably one reason. Because, like, you know, Jack Kirby was doing a bunch of different comic books a month. And, like, maybe you like something a bit more realistic. But he had, like, super hype, psychedelic shit going on. And on top of that, I'd say he had a very solid look to his art. Which is even more impressive when you remember he was doing it on pen and paper, you know? Like, I think some, you know, I think plenty of people would have a hard time doing, like, the same kind of solid musculature look and posing that Jack Kirby did with modern technology. Let alone on pen and paper, because I've talked before about, you know, plenty of digital artists being like, I don't understand how you can work on pen and paper. Do Whoopsie. Oopsie poodle. Yeah, that's better. Actually, we might want this over here. I know I'm getting crazy with it. Honestly, I like doing art streams. I think I've talked about this before. But in the same way I like to be cozy myself in life, I like doing art streams. Because to some degree it feels like while stuff goes insano style, I can still just pal around and have fun with art and broadcast that to people. I have fun doing it. I'm tired though. I'm not gonna lie. I've been pretty good at this in recent times. But fucking, I'm like tired. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that probably clued you in when I was talking about like the weekend, staying home, yada yada yada. But yeah, I tank's kinda on E over here for old Cahill. And meanwhile, fucking, you know, still got 2 days left in the week, so not great, but we're gonna make it work. Like I said before, I'd be very happy just going to work, getting it done, coming home. And no no interruptions or nothing like that. We will see how that holds. I'm expecting 1 or 2 bumps on several fronts, but maybe. Fingers crossed. I hope your week goes smooth, chat. And, you know, if you're watching this in the future and VODs, same to you. I wish you peaceful days. I think about that a lot, you know. Fucking, don't we all just want to live peaceful little lives? If you were out there and you answered no, I don't trust you. For a lot of reasons. I wish peace upon you regardless. That's him, officer. That's the person who said they didn't want to live in a little hobbit hole. From Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. Get them before they escape. I was saying before that this Sonic mix sounded like, what was it, GTA before? This sounds like a fucking Persona song. Isn't Persona also like a Sega property? Or is Atlas, because it's Atlas. Is Atlas owned by Sega the same way kind of like HAL is owned by Nintendo? I don't know. I've not bothered looking. I started focusing very hard on how I'm drawing this. I'm very excited. I'm gonna say it anyway. I realize what I'm saying. I was very excited to draw Buff Willie. Because Willie's a little less, and like, yes, I know, haha. Anyway, but... Listen, Willie's a little cutie patootie. Buff William. His name is William. Wait. And I also really like this face I gave him here. Yeah. I'm actively kind of... I have a vibe I want to go for when it comes to making these comics. I think I talked about this before. I don't know how much it might have like a big grand story I'm going with or want. But I feel like if I've tried to do one thing in like the most recent stuff, which granted has been like very scattered because I've taken a lot of breaks doing bigger ideas and then holidays. But still, I hope one thing that's come across recently is Willie's like a very well-meaning and helpful, but ultimately still like younger little brother character, you know. He is not the one who would he would not be doing this all by himself, but he is happy to follow Walt and their friends around. So I hope at the very least giving that impression will help a panel of him being so just wildly jacked land as even more of a bit. I like the joke. So here's the thing. It is the same joke, but I like it. So yeah, I do hope it comes across at the end that, because in the last strip, Sun Wukong was just like gloating shit, yada yada yada, only to get his teeth knocked out. So I hope it becomes very apparent. It was Willie. Now just so roided up. This version of Willy, canonically stronger than the Hulk. Very basic anatomy here. I'm not trying to do too much. It's just, you know, I don't feel like I have to go insane and like look up a bunch of muscle charts. I can just make sure the shapes are right and give the proper definition in the right areas, and that'll work for me, because otherwise they have noodle arms. So I do think it would help if I did some of this stuff, because on top of slight definition, I think we need some dramatic shading here. Hello. What did I say? Why is this line not lining? Word, I was just thinking about, I saw like the worst video of all time today. I didn't even comment on it because I was just like, I took psychic damage. But it was just like, it was like Deltarune if it was a standard AAA action game. And oh my word. It did psychic damage to me with the way the fucking script in that was written. Definitely one thing to make a screenshot with your typical AAA UI design, but the video is something else. And like, it wasn't even like a whole like Blender thing. It was, I think it was the person literally said it was made in Gmod, but it's like I said, psychic damage. He's so fucking ripped. I'm already, to be clear, just in terms of what's happening, Willy will be stronger after that. Like, that's the point. But he will not be buff for the rest of like the comic. That being said, if maybe we'll have a ball, you know. Maybe I'll let. I can always, like, if people actually care, I can always take a poll and be like, hey, do you like the comic? Would y'all be down if I had like Walt and Willy occasionally do the All Might thing where they get so just wildly fucking buff? They are called the Wallop Brothers. The original, you know, intention behind that Monopia-esque name is just because they like hit you with hammers, which they have done previously in the past. So I've lived up to that part. The idea, though, that they go from like a bunch of small 12-year-olds to a wildly wildly ripped men when they feel like it. Also very funny. Bum 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 bum. I do want to draw. I want to listen. But, you know, let me draw the little glove fold here real quick. I'm trying to think. How would his glove, like, how would the rim of his glove even look on this one? Would it still be, I think it would. Yeah, it looks fine. I'm literally giving him his, like, wrist the same texture as, like, wood in the comic. Because he's just so wildly solid. Alrighty. Now we draw these. Nah, I think we're good with that. Just that. I will give him his ear. Oh, it's very good. It's very good is the thing about it. I like it a lot. Oh, I like it a large amount. Oh, you know, I was worried. I was worried before. But this is very good is the thing. Yeah. There, unironically, when I have to, like, picture, like, I have to do, like, a fist, a curled fist in any position in relation to a body, I just take my own hands and I just do the pose, which I'm sure I'm not alone in that, just in history and modern art, you know. I am positive many artists do the same. But yeah. Just because it's very helpful and very easy to do that and be like, okay, the thumb goes there. Pluto! You're ripped! There's a Paul Ruddish Mickey Mouse cartoon where that's part of the joke. This is very much just a reference to that. I think I'm specifically just gonna have Walt say that he's jacked. And then also the other part of the joke will be Willie holding up a small little fruit right here, which he ate in a previous stream.